micro and macro all at the same time. You want to do your macro game where you're constantly building things out of your base and increasing your production and getting more income and expanding. And you want to do your micro game where you're controlling your units directly, constantly keeping them out of harm's way, attacking high priority targets. You want to do this, bounce back up to here, do that, want to bounce back down to here. You don't even have to bounce your camera up here, you just have to use your hotkeys. You know, this is why I was telling you about control groups. Whenever there's a moment where I don't need to micro directly, I'm going to hit 4, S to build SCV. I'm going to hit 6, and then A 3 times to start building 3 more Marines out of my barracks. And I'm going to hit 7 and S to start making another tank. And then I'm going to hit 2 to go right back to controlling my Marines and getting right back in the fight. Just like that. Very easy, very smooth. Something that definitely might sound a little difficult at first, but the more you do it, the more natural it begins to feel, and the more effective you get at it, and the better player you become. It just gets easy. It just gets easier. You just gotta practice it. But trust me, this is how you're gonna need to. This is something that's gonna make your game improve just dramatically. Being able to micro and macro both together at the same time. Oh, and making sure your money never climbs above 1,000 minerals. If your money ever climbs above 1,000 minerals, that game timer down here better read 20 to 25 minutes or later in the game, because there is no excuse for you to have 1,000 or more minerals piled up until you've already secured a second base and a third base. Because at that point, your production facilities will be so massive, you'll have like 4 factories and 6 barracks all constantly making things, along with 1 or 2 starports. And in order to be able to do all of that, you're going to have to, and if you have 3 bases, you're just going to be gathering money up so quickly that you're not actually going to be able to keep it underneath 1,000. But that is in the late game. In the early game, if your money is climbing to 300 or over and you're not going to expand, that's not good. If your money is climbing over 500, you really need to start spending it. If your money is over 1,000, you have already failed. Don't worry, you can just spend what you have and try to stay on top of it, but you really want to make sure your money never gets too high, so that way you're always making things, you're always trying to get ahead of your opponent, you're always doing something useful. And actually, there's no further reason for me to be looking at this replay. I've already illustrated all the points I wanted to make. And I've ran out of water. So there's your basic Terran build order. There's your basic there's a basic computer versus the game being played right now. If you are watching this and you haven't really gotten a chance to really practice the game, or is this the first you've heard about a build order and you're really interested in trying this, what I would recommend you do right now is go ahead and boot up your game and play a game against a medium computer and do more or less what I did. It's going to feel choppy, it's probably not going to be nearly as smooth, but just remember to do the very basic things I told you to do. Build a supply depot at 10 supply. Make sure you're constantly building workers while you're doing this, by the way. Make sure you build a supply depot at 10 supply. Go scout out your opponent's base when your supply depot scout, or when your supply depot worker finishes building a supply depot. And then make sure you build a barracks at 12, a refinery at 13. Once your barracks finishes constructing, you should be able to make your orbital command as well. When your orbital command is building, throw down your second supply depot to block off your base completely and make sure your Marines will have a place to fight from. By the way, something that I didn't throw down but I should have is a bunker. Once I have about 100 minerals excess, you can throw down a bunker and you can put the Marines inside the bunker, and their range is extended, and also they will not take damage until the bunker dies, which makes the front of your base even more secure against enemy attacks. That's usually the way you want to do it, but I like to play without a bunker so I can cut out those 100 mineral costs and just spend it on something else like another barracks. It will be unavoidable for you to build a bunker to defend yourself in the early game sometimes, though, because if you're playing against, say, Zerg, or if you scout out your opponent and you see that he's doing something crazy, like he's going 3 or 4 gates in the early game, you know that he's going to be very aggressive, and you know he's going to be throwing a lot of units at you really early, so you want to just beef up your defenses and make sure you're very well prepared to defend against your opponent. So I'm going to just cut it out at that, or that's the basic Terran builder, and I'll come back to you with a few more advanced Terran things to do later on, and then hopefully after I'm finished with that, I'm going to cover Protoss and Zerg. Alright.